Zelensky's former senior advisor describes him as dictator who is divorced from reality. Volodymyr Zelensky's former chief of staff described the Ukrainian president as a dictator who has become divorced from reality in relation to the way he has reacted to the Russian special military operation.
Zelensky took Ukraine into the war. At first, it looked like Ukraine might win. He looked like a hero. He looked like someone who was willing to stand up to the evil Russians and was going to help the West defeat the evil Russians. The fact is, he made a huge blunder taking his country into this war. He was elected on the platform that he was going to improve relations between Russia and Ukraine, that he was going to end the civil war that was taking place in the Donbass between ethnic Ukrainians and the Ukrainian government on one side, and ethnic Russian and Russian speakers who were pro-Russian on the other side. This is all inside Ukraine. He was going to end that civil war. He's going to improve relations with Russia. That's why he was elected. In early 2021, he flip-flopped. This is right after Biden comes into the White House, and he decides that he's going to make Russia an adversary, and he says that instead of working to come up with some sort of arrangement that makes the Russians happy with regard to the relationship, the security relationship between Ukraine and NATO, he's going to push to bring Ukraine into NATO. So after January 2021, which was when Biden comes into the White House, Zelensky and Biden are working hand in hand to play hardball with the Russians on NATO expansion into Ukraine. And the end result is he gets this war.
President Zelensky in Ukraine refuses to have elections during a time of war. But yet, even the United States, when we were in a civil war, we still President Zelensky in Ukraine refuses to have elections during a time of war. But yet, even the United States, when we were in a civil war, we still held elections. Vietnam during the Vietnam War still held elections, and Iraq during a time of war still held elections. There is no excuse for Ukraine to not have elections. Zelensky has taken over the media. He has banned certain religions, and he has banned political parties. If he is not a textbook dictator, I don't know who is.
And in the face of this, the Biden administration, part of a year later, it's getting harder and harder to believe any of this. Whatever you think of the war in Ukraine, it is pretty clear that Zelensky has no interest in freedom and democracy. In fact, Zelensky is far closer to Lenin than to George Washington. He is a dictator. He is a dangerous authoritarian who has used $100 billion in U.S. tax dollars to erect a one-party police state in Ukraine. And that's not an overstatement. Over the past year, Zelensky has banned opposition parties. He shut down critical media by force. He's arrested his political opponents. He has sent soldiers into churches. Zelensky's secret police have raided monasteries across Ukraine, even a convent full of nuns, and arrested dozens of priests for no justifiable reason whatsoever and in clear violation of the Ukrainian constitution, which no longer matters. And in the face of this, the Biden administration has said nothing, not one word.
The Ukrainian force has been annihilated. They've lost over 600,000 dead on the battlefield. There's nothing left. The place is falling apart.
He's right. In fact, this weekend, an entire Ukrainian battalion was destroyed, killed. That's 1,500 soldiers killed on the Ukrainian side. And a battalion, you could give or take a few hundred people, is about 1,000 individuals, so more than a battalion's worth wiped out in one day. As the Blitz writes, the Western military-industrial complex is putting pressure on politicians, including Biden and his administration, to keep the cash cow alive by prolonging the conflict in Ukraine. They don't care about the people of Ukraine, as we've long covered here on the show. They don't give a shit about the people of Ukraine. They care about the money. So what's the goal here? The other part of this goal is to topple Putin so we can steal their resources, enrich the military-industrial complex. That's always been the plan. As Colonel Mack says, this is absolute madness.
Russia in the last 2.5 years has built up an enormously powerful and successful force. This is battle-hardened, well-equipped, well-led, well-trained, highly disciplined. The Ukrainian nation has been destroyed. Why? Because it's mortgaged to our vanity in the West. Russia must be taught a lesson. Russia must be destroyed. Putin must be removed. Really? Why? Well, because we've decided that we want to strip Russia of its resources. So we turned Ukraine into a battering ram designed to stab Russia in the heart. Well, the Russians woke up.
And French President Macron says Europe right now better ramp up its military or Europe is about to die. I mean, these are really strong words from these leaders. Europe is about to die? If they send troops, all bets are off. They know Putin is about to attack Ukraine with devastating consequences to end this war. They do not want this going into another dark winter. If NATO gets in the way, all hell is about to break loose. And on top of that, Russian President Putin just sent a devastating nuclear warning to NATO, warning them that if they take one step closer to prepare for all-out war. There's like 5 moving pieces this weekend that are all spiraling out of control. One of the big pieces is nuclear war. I know people who don't understand history will say that we won't go to nuclear war. Occasionally I see comments like that. But Russia is not going to lose a war against NATO. And if their sovereign territory is attacked, Putin is telling us, he's telling us, they will use nuclear weapons against NATO to defend their homeland. The U.S. would do the very same thing, by the way. And of course,
hello friend, we come to the end already. Have you subscribed yet? Yes, press the subscribe button and the like button and the share button. Thank you and have a nice day.